So I was sitting on my couch and I was bored. I was just playing Tetris on my phone. I actually had the iPhone way before anyone else did, because, you know, I'm God. So I looked over at Earth and said, getting kind of boring over there. So I walked over to the Earth and I changed the settings to creative mode. And then I went down to Egypt because it was mostly just flat and sandy. And I started placing blocks and building pyramids, kind of just screwing around, honestly. And then I went over to Stonehenge too and I built that and kind of just stacking stuff, you know. And then I went to the snowy area, right? And then I built a bunch of blocks as high as I could go until I reached the height limit, and I called it Fort God. But then you people called it Mount Everest, which is kind of lame if you ask me. I like my name a lot better. And then I went and killed the Ender Dragon, so that was fun. And then the Mayans hopped on my server, and they started building pyramids and shit in Mexico. And I was like, guys, you're totally taking my idea. So I was so mad, I punched the earth as hard as I could, and I created the Grand Canyon. So I turned it back to survival mode and flooded the earth. But not before I told this one villager named Noah to make a boat, and I told him to put 2 of every animal on it, because I really did not feel like making all those animals again. And I gave him creative mode powers to build the boat, obviously. And then I just went back to my couch. After I got my powers, I decided to go look for all the Dragon Balls again, because I wanted to wish for my own planet, because I thought that would be cool. So I was flying around, destroying buildings, flipping cars and stuff, until eventually I did find all the Dragon Balls, and I wished for my own planet, full of naked women and the aliens from Toy Story, because I thought that would be funny. So I'm just hanging out on my planet with my naked women and the aliens and the naked aliens, because things got kind of weird there for a little while. And then all of a sudden, this white and purple alien dude shows up, and he kind of looks like a Digimon, and his name was like Refrigerator or Popsicle or something cold, I don't remember. And then he starts yelling at me about how he's the best in the universe and how he wants all my Dragon Balls, because I guess my planet just came with Dragon Balls. I didn't realize that planets just naturally had Dragon Balls, but whatever. I was like, listen man, I don't know who you are, but you're not getting my Dragon Balls. So then he starts pointing his finger, and then he starts shooting these lasers out, and he's killing all my babes and all the aliens, and I'm like, you wanna go, dog? So I start throwing haymakers. I'm teleporting around him, punching him and stuff, and I punch him in the balls, and it turns out he doesn't have balls, because I don't really know what kind of gender he is, because he's like an alien or something. And then he says, look over there, a naked woman. And I mean, I look, naturally, you know, because like naked. And then while I'm looking, he knocks me out, he steals all my Dragon Balls, he wishes for my powers, and he blows up my planet.
Your great-grandfather was a warrior, a Chinese samurai, defending the Great Wall of China from the Mongolian Fries. The Fries would try to fly over the Great Wall to take over China, and he would shoot them down with his bow and arrow, and cut them in half with his sword. And after a long day of battle, he'd go home, and he'd make a bowl of chicken fried rice, and he was eating it with his chopsticks. And as he take a bite, a fry into his mouth, and he started choking like and he fell over and died. I was just a little kid at the time, and I woke up and went into the kitchen holding my blankie to get a glass of rice milk. And I see my grandfather on the ground, and I say, wake up, grandfather, wake up. And I poke him with his chopsticks, and I find out he dead, and I cry. So I take his samurai sword, and I go outside and practice. And next day, I go out and kick Mongolian fry ass to avenge my grandfather!
Okay, so we go into the woods and we capture a mole against his will, and we tell him we want him to dig a tunnel underneath the prison all the way to the Easter Bunny cell. After digging, we go down in the tunnel and we go plant a Minecraft TNT block under the Easter Bunny cell, and we ignite it so it blows a hole in the bottom of the floor. We grab the Easter Bunny, and Cody, you're going to be wearing an Easter Bunny costume, and you're going to stay in the prison cell so they don't notice that the Easter Bunny is gone. Then we're going to speed away on our motorcycles with the real Easter Bunny. And then after a few months of Cody being there as the Easter Bunny, you're going to take off the costume, and they're going to say, wait, what is this kid doing in jail? He doesn't belong here. And then they're going to let you out.
So we get 100,000 people to all gather around the prison, and then we get everyone to jump at the same exact time, causing an earthquake, which will break the prison in half, with the Easter Bunny cell on one side while the cops are on the other side. So the cops can't get to them because the earth is split in half, dude. Then we can get a helicopter to fly down and drop a ladder so the Easter Bunny can climb up it, and we fly away.
So I'll get hired as a
prison security guard. And Cody, you'll get hired as the prison chef. And when it's dinner time, Cody, you will poison the Easter Bunny's food. And I'll bring him his food. And after he starts eating, he'll start dying from it being poisoned. And I'll yell for the medics. And Joseph will show up because he got a job as the ambulance driver. And we'll put the bunny in the back of the ambulance. And we'll go to the hospital because Jeffy's there. And Jeffy got a job as a doctor. And then Jeffy will heal the Easter Bunny with medicine. And then we'll all speed off and run away with the Easter Bunny. And he'll be escaped.
So I was a sophomore in high school and the homecoming dance was coming up and I wanted to go with Samantha Knobgobbler because word around the school was if you went on a date with her, she'd gobble your knob like corn on the cob. So I asked her out before anyone else and she said yes. I was so excited. I was about to get my knob gobbled at homecoming. So I got myself a tuxedo and I looked damn good. I looked like a young James Bond. I was ready. The only weird thing was my mom drove us to the dance and she smokes with the windows rolled up, but I didn't care. I only had one thing on my mind, getting my knob gobbled. So she dropped us off at the dance and I started boogie-woogieing. And there was a snack bar and the local gas station was catering sushi. My school didn't have a big budget. So I ate a few pieces of the sushi and I went back out on the dance floor to break it down. Then the song Witch Doctor came on, you know, the song that goes ooh-ee, you know, ooh-ah-ah. Don't forget the ting-tang, walla walla, end it with a bing bang, you know that song? And that song was my shit. So when I went to twerk, I did shit. My pants. It came out of nowhere. And then right then, Samantha Knobgobbler grabs me by my hand and says, "Hey, you want to ditch this dance and go get your knob gobbled?" So I said, "No, I'm actually gay, sorry," because I didn't want her to know I had a massive shit in my pants. She was so offended because nobody has ever turned down getting their knob gobbled by Samantha Knobgobbler. So she ran away and drove off with Billy Bowling Hands. This was before he drowned. I'm sure his balls were like bowling balls.